Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to reprime your print head when it doesn't print a color, especially when you're using a CIS. Let me open up the top, show you it's all been set up. Now what I did is I plugged up the bottles deliberately so I could run the print head out of ink. That's what happens. The print head cavity is depleted of ink, and then it won't prime up again, no matter how many cleanings you do. Actually, if you do over 3 cleanings, you make matters worse, because then the capping station gets flooded. So I've run a nozzle check. And you can see, barely see, I've got any ink. Now that can happen if you run the bottles out of ink, you don't use the printer for quite some time, or if the capping station, the station over here, under here, that's not sealing properly. Mostly for the older Epson printers. So basically, here's what that looks like when you look over there. See? It goes up against the bottom of the printhead and makes a seal. Then when the pump starts up, it sucks the ink into the printhead cavity. So on the Epson printhead, it has to be sealed to draw the ink. That's how it works. Now sometimes you don't use the printer. That can happen too, because it dries out. The longer you leave it, the more it's going to dry out. That's because it's not being sealed on the bottom properly. Now, a lot of times you'll see air in the hose. Pay no attention to that. Air in the hose is not going to hurt anything. Now, gaps that are 3 and 4 inches, yes. Then you got to go in and prime it, take the system out, and then we show you how to prime it in the instructions. But for now, for this video, let me go open these up. These little plugs always have to be open, always, when you're using the printer, and even when you're not. You don't have to close it off. You don't have to worry about dust. Okay, now I'm going to close it. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to setup. Then I'm going to look for maintenance. There it is. Oh, there you go. There you go, there's maintenance. Then I'm going to print out a nozzle check. Okay. As you can see, there's really nothing. There's a few, just a few there. So, now I'm going to run my first cleaning. I'm going to say all colors, black, all colors, because I didn't see anything. Now this is going to take a minute or two. You can do up to 3 cleanings. Point this out also in the video. If you get one cartridge it cannot recognize, you put originals in, you try everything, it just doesn't recognize. That's because each one of these printers have a little springboard for each cartridge, and I've found that these can sometimes get bent or they'll fall right out, and that will stop it. So after your second cartridge, if it still says can't recognize, I would look with a flashlight very closely at that. Now we carry some of them for some of the models like the XP and the Workforce. And then we also have some for the Artisan. But I've seen this a lot of times, that these things will get bent or they'll fall off or whatever, and then you can easily replace it. You don't have to take the machine apart. You slide a little screwdriver, it pops right out, put a new one in. Now you got one for each color. So it's still running through its cleaning cycle. Now remember, this is the first one. But you can see, now we make a little, we call it a spring hanger. It just, the system just hangs off of it. That's very good because it's at the right height. You don't have to tape it. Or if you don't want to do that, you can always put a box underneath it. Now we're using American-made ink, and it's certified ink. It will not clog a printhead. And I'll show you in this video, if you have a clogged printhead, how you're going to know. CIS, start, and then it's going to print out a nozzle check. Okay, it's a little bit better. It's kind of hard in this light to see this, but it's a little bit better. So I'm going to do one more. Remember, I can do up to 3. Come back over. Printhead cleaning. All colors. Start. Okay, now so it's my second one. This is going to take a minute. Back to the capping station because I wanted to show you this. Basically, it's a spring with a sponge, and there's a hose goes to the bottom, hose comes to there, and as the pump turns, it sucks the ink, and that goes into your waste box. So you can replace these. You shouldn't wipe them, or you shouldn't tamper with them at all. I mean, if it's an older printer, you may be able to find one on the internet, and you can replace it, and that may help you. But if it's a newer printer, you shouldn't really need it. The one I'm doing today is a Workforce 7710. It's a fairly new one. But a lot of people have these older Epsons and they wonder why they run into problems. What happens is this area in here starts to dry out, or the little rubber seal that goes around it gets worn or warped, and then it won't seal on the bottom of the printhead. So you notice you have to, you know, do more cleanings. And I'm sure Epson likes that because you're buying more cartridges. So as soon as the second cleaning's done, then we'll check the nozzle. Now I'm going to print out another nozzle check here. I saw some improvement from the first one. I see a little bit more. Let's see if I can hold it in the light so you can see. I can see it a little bit more. So now I've got one more to do. If that doesn't fix it, then I'll show you how to reprime it with the CIS. You don't have to take anything out of the printer. You won't have to remove anything. Okay, come over here. Print. We're going to clean again. All colors, start. A lot of people sell the cleaner for the printheads, but you got to be careful what you're using. A lot of people say, I'll use you know, Windex. Don't do that. Or they'll say use alcohol. Don't do that. On all of the newer Epsons with the precision core printheads, that'll damage it, because if you use straight alcohol, it's going to go in there and it's going to start to damage the gaskets. If you're using ammonia, all the gold contacts will become corroded. So we've been making this head cleaner for years, and everybody's used it and it works excellent. And we give you a little syringe and we show you how to go over the top of the needle and how to clean it out. But don't use the cleaner unless you're sure that you have a clogged printhead. And there's only a couple ways you can get a clogged printhead. One, letting it sit way too long, maybe 6 months. 2, using the wrong ink. The ink is not the best quality because it doesn't have biocides or fungicides. Its dispersants aren't right. So that's your other thing. They dry out too quickly, and especially if some of the inks are using alcohol. And I've seen that, and I've smelled that, and it does not work well. And you have to constantly clean or use a cleaner on your printhead. The most of the time when a color fails, it's because the cavity of that printhead has lost its prime. It's as simple as that. It's just got air in there. Print out another nozzle. Remember, this is the third one. Let's see what it looks like on this one. Here again, it's not good. It's not really good. Better than the first one, because on the first one, I had practically nothing. Now I'm going to show you how to reprime that printhead without removing the CIS. So I'm going to say I want to replace the cartridges. Open it up. I want it to come over just a little bit to the cartridge change position. When it comes over, then I want to unplug the printer. So remember, you got to bring it over, then you can unplug the printer. Piece of paper towel, and I folded it. So it's a little bit wider than you could say the bottom of the printer. I'm going to lay it down in here. Now if this hose is in your way, let's take it out of our way. Okay, I'm going to lay it down on there. Then I'm going to take my time and bring the printhead so it comes right over the top of that paper towel. And so I'm going to do a section at a time because I'm going to do a color at a time. And I fill an ordinary syringe. That'll be in your kit. What I'm going to do is on where the air plug goes in, I'm going to push the syringe in there, the tip of that syringe, snug it in there. I'm going to do each color. Normally I start with yellow and go all the way across. But I already put it in the black, so I'm going to leave it there. That's the way, you always go the lightest color to the darkest color. But for the video, I already have it in. Okay, and I'm going to slowly push it down. If I feel no resistance, then the printhead's not clogged. But you don't want to push it right on down to the bottom. You want to kind of give it a second, push it again. See, it comes back up again. So there is a little resistance. So that's good. Now, I'll go over here, I'll move it, see if any black ink is coming out. Nothing came out yet. Okay, go back over, go down some more. Hold it there, then it's going to come back up. Let's go look, see if I get any black ink yet. There you go. Got my first black. So that means that printhead's primed. Now, we'll go to the next color, the next color, and next color. Now, if I only lost one color, then I'd only do it for one. But because I deliberately wanted it to lose all those colors, we're going to do them all now. Now I went right to the yellow, which is what I should have done the first time. That's all right. I slowly push it down, get a little resistance, comes back up, do it down a little bit more, hold it a second, let go. Now let's see if we got any yellow. No yellow yet. Okay, back over, push it down, this time a little bit further. And there again, I'm not getting a lot of resistance. If I couldn't push it down, that tells you your printhead is clogged. and then you're going to have to use a cleaner. But don't use a cleaner till you know for sure. There you go. There's the yellow. Got yellow. Okay. Now, I'm going to do the magenta and cyan, and then I'll plug the printer back in. Magenta, now I'm going to do the cyan. So, over here, start to push it down. You'll feel a resistance. Let go for a second. See the plunger come back up? Okay. Drag it down a little bit more. Hold it for a second. Let it come up. Now, I had to put another paper towel in there. Nothing yet. Go over. Get down more. Take your time. Now, I wouldn't be able to push it that far down if my printhead was clogged. There's the cyan. Okay, that's good. That tells me that the system is working fine. The ink's flowing through the printhead. Now, if it wouldn't print now, well then you got a bad printhead. But I doubt it. Okay, now I'll remove that. I've got the scanner open. I'm going to use the little interlock plug that we give you, so I can leave the lid open so I can watch it go back and forth. Make sure my hose travel is good. Now I'm going to run a nozzle check first, but I might have to do one cleaning. We'll see. Because right now it's going into a little bit of a charge right now. That happened because, for whatever reason, the cavity of that printhead lost too much ink and it wouldn't prime back up again. Now I'm going to release a video after this one, like if you're using refillable cartridges and the same thing happens. I'll show you how to do it. Okay, now let's go back over here. Oop. Let's go to maintenance. Print nozzle check. Okay. Okay, looks good. Looks good. Now you can see, got a lot of my colors. Still a little spotty on the black. Missing a few. Now all those white areas that are missing, that's air. It's not clogged. Anytime you see that, very rarely will it be clogged. So now I'm going to run one more. But this time, I'm just going to run black. And when it's done, I'll say yes. Let it print it out. Okay. I still don't quite have the black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to add a little bit more black. And I'm not going to do the colors because they're looking pretty good. Now that one area right there, that'll clean up. Not worried about that. All those little areas will clean up. So let me go in and add a little bit more black. I'll bring it over, put the paper towel underneath it, and add more black ink. Because that printhead is a double size on the black, not as big as the color. Put the paper towel in there. I'm going to go back and add a little bit more black. It's better to add a little bit at a time than to push it in there and then flood everything. But as you can see, printhead's not clogged. And those other colors will come back. There's another thing, if you run it in regular and you print 50 copies, that'll drop your color too. So always set it for plain paper but better quality, and that'll help. Yeah, see? Little bit. I'm going to go a little bit more. Okay. A little bit more. That's better. Now look at that. Now I've really got plenty. Okay. Now we'll take the paper towel out and do another nozzle check. Let's see how the black looks. And now after I just put some more ink in there, I'm going to run another nozzle check. Look at this black now. See? Still got a little bit of air in there, but that's okay. That's okay. You're going to run it better quality. Okay, now I'm printing out a test sheet that I made. Now I set it for plain paper, high quality. I'm going to print it like that for a while. It looks pretty good now. See, all the colors are back. Looks pretty good. So that's why I don't want you to go do too many cleanings. Now, I ran one in, the very first one I ran was in, plain paper standard. Not too bad. But if I was to run 50 or 60 sheets like this, I'd deplete that cavity in that printhead again. Now sometimes you'll see a little faint white line. Okay? That's because that one little nozzle is not quite firing right. But it'll get better if you leave it alone. Because then I went to better quality and most of it's gone. Pretty much all of it. So now that's why I'm going to run it for a while till I can bring it back completely. But in the larger text, I didn't see any. So go to inkproducts.com for the latest in printhead cleaning if you need it, and American made ink, and the best CIS ink system money can buy. We build them, design them right here in America.